or if you wanted a tall cocktail, a mojito, and have a beautiful day under the umbrellas in the sun, we do apologize. We won't have any alcohol today. I know that one of the police commissioners or the head of police in Johannesburg or JMPD came through also today and wanted to shut this place down. So luckily the message did actually go across. But we're here today to share a very different message with you. Drinking and driving still remains one of the biggest causes of road deaths in our country. And after about 20 years of advertising campaigns, initiatives, messages, little has really changed. So today we want to share something different with you. We want you to rethink your definition of drinking and driving. We want to ask you and all of South Africa to rethink your own behavior and how often many of us deny, downplay, or even minimize our alcohol consumption, and then casually get behind the wheel, becoming an instant target or hazard to ourselves as well as others. How many times have you said, no, bro, I actually drive better if I have it like 1 or 2. I'm more brave. I'll see the cops better. So we want you to rethink how you can spread the message that even one drink is too much, especially if you're planning to drive or get behind the wheel. We want you to also share more on the Rethink campaign and why we believe that this perennial issue needs a fresh and bold approach. And to maybe take us through all of this and give us a greater understanding of what we're trying to achieve with this new campaign and this new messaging that we're doing, I want to invite Ingrid Lowe, who has been the Chief Executive Officer for aware.org since August 2016. She's a teacher by training, and she fuels her desire to drive sustainable change through strategic partnerships as well as tangible engagement. She's also at the helm of aware.org with a primary focus to build a culture of responsible drinking in South Africa. So let's please put our hands together and welcome onto the stage the CEO of aware.org, Ingrid Lowe.
So good morning. Sorry, I don't think it's on. Is this on? Can you hear me? Okay. So good morning, or should I say good evening, because I've not slept for the past few nights. I have many people. So which one are we using? Are we using this one?
No, this one.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear me? Sorry about that. Apologies. So I was saying good morning, good evening. I'm actually not sure what time of day or night it is because I have not slept for the past few nights. From the time that we presented this concept for this festive media campaign to the board of aware.org, and I got vehement pushback because they felt that this might be too risky, that as the liquor industry we might be seen to be taking an issue that's such a serious issue, taking it lightly. And I have to confirm that drinking and driving is a major issue for the liquor industry. So I had to give them assurances that this was necessary, that it was time for us to be bold, it was time for us to be radical, and it was time for us to do things differently. And this is what today is all about. So why rethink? Well, we see our pop-up generated some interest, and dare I say, outrage. But that is exactly what we were aiming for. Between Mona from Riverbed and myself, we were tweeting till late into the night, following up on the social media posts, requests for interviews, because people were wondering what's going on. And the reality is that unless we push the envelope and we are purposefully provocative, we cannot be sure that people will actually stop and listen. So yes, we caused a stir. People on Twitter and Facebook have been angry, concerned. Some were even disgusted at the thought of this pop-up bar opening over the festive season. Statistics show, however, that the majority of those very same people, and some of them might be sitting here today, are quick to get behind the wheel and drive on this very same road after a drink. At aware.org, our position is very clear. If you're having just one drink, don't drive. Our hashtag one on nickel has been trending since yesterday, fueled by people saying, why this pop-up bar is such a bad idea. This is the very reaction we wanted. Today, however, we want to trend for a different reason. We want people to have the same emphatic reaction, but this time we want them to talk and tweet about how crazy it is to drink and drive. Most importantly, we want people to rethink and begin to change their ambivalence around this topic. We want people to understand that even after one drink, they should not drive. While we know that concerns around drinking and driving have received a lot of attention over the years, year in and year out, we are exposed to the same old, don't drink and drive, when you drink, don't drive, and so on and so on. And the reality is that despite the ongoing campaigns, threats, finger-wagging, and shock tactics, the statistics and road fatalities have continued to climb. If we want to truly shift public thinking on the consumption of alcohol before driving or walking home, we need to change decades of habit and what is considered to be acceptable community norms. This means that we need to shift drinking customs, we need to shift drinking attitudes, and in doing so, change our drinking patterns and the behaviors that come with that. We have all seen the gory fatality images, we've seen the mangled cars on the side of the road, and some of us has even sadly been personally affected by drinking and driving or walking tragedies. The stats alone speak for themselves. So when is enough enough? Aware.org, together with our members, and we have our members here, and just very briefly, Aware.org was established by the alcohol industry in South Africa. We represent all the major manufacturers and producers of alcohol. We have with us today representatives from SA Breweries, we have Distel, we have Diageo, we have Pernod Ricard, and Heineken send their blessings. They were unable to make it today. But we also represent the distributors of alcohol, and we represent the retailers. So Massmart, Spar, Woolworths, ShopRite are all our members, and they're all committed to addressing the harm related to alcohol. And insofar as this event is concerned, they are committed to addressing the drinking and driving scourge that we have in South Africa. So together with our partners, and today our partners, we're honored to have the Road Traffic Management Corporation, which we have formally partnered with on all our drinking and driving initiatives, as well as we have today the Gauteng Liquor Board, who we work very closely with, to roll out programs in the townships with regard to taverns. We're also looking to launch underage drinking programs in the province. So very happy to have them today. Together with us, they've decided to take this bold route as we head towards the festive season. It is the perfect opportunity to get your attention, and hopefully that's what we've done. So we're not here to preach, and we aren't telling you not to drink. What we do want to do is encourage everyone to rethink their choices around alcohol consumption. We must get South Africans proactively thinking about their choices. How do we do this? We need to denormalize drinking and driving. It's become too acceptable. McFarlane mentioned earlier some of the responses you get, and those responses are from our friends and our family members. And what is our role in that? We just, oh, okay, no problem. You know, so we're just equally responsible for the scourge of drinking and driving on our roads. We hear often, it's okay. What's the problem really? Or it's something that other people do, so why can't I? We see ourselves as the exception to the rule. I'm a safe driver. I've only had one or two. Or even, it's safer if I walk home or if I drive home. I'm not sure if you caught the Minister of Transport the other day on TV, where he mentioned that if you look at road fatalities, almost half of road fatalities is pedestrians. 40% of deaths on the road is pedestrians, people that are crossing over, hopefully not from the tavern, but walking within their community, but have had a few drinks and think it's okay to walk home, and it ends up being a fatality. We need to challenge our own inherent systems, belief systems. This activation and our Rethink campaign are aimed at unpacking these inner conversations that will induce deliberate intention on the part of drivers that consume alcohol and shift cultural and behavioral habits, but also, more importantly, lead to real, meaningful and sustainable change. We need to stop. We need to draw a line in the sand now, South Africans. Enough is enough. As you can see, we also had representatives from JMPD here this morning. They received complaints about the drink-through bar. So I think there's a collective consciousness around what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. We're hoping to have the spokesperson of JMPD, Wayne Minard, here in a few minutes, and he will engage with you guys. We recognize and appreciate the work that they do to help ensure the safety on our roads and to enforce the laws regarding drinking and driving. But more importantly, we want South Africans to make decisions out of personal and communal responsibility rather than the fear of being arrested. We want them to make decisions based on the understanding of their own role in creating and contributing to what is now socially acceptable norms. It's become part of our community norms that it's okay, drive to the Shisanyama, have a drink, eat, and then jump into my posh car and drive home, and that's not acceptable. Our research shows that although many South Africans might know there is a legal drinking limit, most don't actually know what this means in real terms. In other words, when am I legally drunk? How many glasses? How many milliliters of a particular alcohol drink, be it beer, wine, or spirits? As the alcohol industry's collective commitment to harm reduction, Aware.org is working on both the national and community level with partners like the RTMC to create awareness and to educate the public on the potential consequences of making poor choices when it comes to alcohol consumption. We also have several active programs in place to help reduce the harmful effects of alcohol misuse and abuse in South Africa. This we do through targeted interventions with program partners within communities at grassroots level. In South Africa, we have plenty of options available to us before we choose to get behind the wheel or hit the pavement when we've had a few. We have no excuses, people. We have Uber. We have Taxify. There's a number of other taxi services available, especially if you're in Johannesburg. We can call a cab, we can phone a friend or a family member to collect us. And we are not just speaking to those who drink. This is all our responsibility. If we are going to overcome the perception that we are a country of drunkards, and I've heard that a few times, and if we are going to build a culture of responsible alcohol consumption, then we need to be collectively responsible. So our commitment to you today is that this is only the beginning of our journey towards lasting nationwide behavioral change. However, this is not something that we can do alone. As I said, this is a collective effort, one of partnership. Aware.org's mandate is to create awareness and to educate, but our partners on the ground, the RTMC, the Gauteng Liquor Board, are the ones that ensure and enforce public safety. Today sees the official launch of our festive season education and awareness campaign. And over the holidays, you can expect to see our message in taverns, in pubs, even across news platforms, audio streaming services, and GPS apps. Our call to action is for South Africans to rethink your alcohol consumption choices wherever you go. Don't support drinking or driving. Don't support underage drinking or drinking while pregnant. In closing, thank you to all our partners and stakeholders for their support and to the media for helping us to take this important message to market. Let's continue the conversation on Twitter and Facebook. Let's make this festive season one where we begin to craft a different narrative around drinking and driving. And let's remember that if you're having just one drink, rethink, don't drive. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Ingrid. And I think, our work doesn't stop when the camera stops rolling. A lot of people, I think I was having a conversation, I don't know whether it was Sam Marshall or someone, and I said, you guys will not believe what it's like working for a company like Carte Blanche. You see the 8-minute story that goes out on television every Sunday, but the trauma, the suffering, the helplessness that families go through as a result of things like drinking and driving accidents, families not being able to get compensation, and a whole lot of things, that the tears of mothers that cry because they've lost their kids or their kids are now disabled as a result of this. We speak to those mothers. We see those children. And that trauma stays with us for the rest of our lives because I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it. I can't unhear those tears that mother cried because some drunk person hit their child that wanted to be a lawyer, a doctor, but now their life is absolutely ruined as a result of somebody that was drinking and driving and absolutely ruined their lives. And as much as I earlier said that we've become desensitized, but we shouldn't be, because it is something that is ideally killing our nation slowly each and every single year, and especially at this time of the year. I'd like to call upon Advocate Msibi, who ideally works tirelessly to promote compliance with the rules of the road, and he changes human behavior. In the work that he does as the CEO of the RTMC, his belief is that road safety and the enforcement thereof is a collaborative effort, and if alcohol harm reduction is to be realized in South Africa, it takes each and every single one of us to make sure that that happens. So let's put our hands together and please welcome onto the stage Advocate Makosini Msibi from the Road Traffic Management Corporation.
Program Director McFarlane, my colleagues here, Raymond, Martin, Ingrid Lowe, colleagues from our stakeholders, SAB, all other distinguished guests, the media, good morning. It is perfect time that we meet and launch this campaign this morning. Unfortunately, we're launching this campaign after a gruesome murder of 14 passengers last night that kept us working until these early hours of the morning. It takes place at the time into our festive season. We're sitting at 19% increase of the fatal crashes that have taken place since the 1st of December. We're sitting at 20% increase of the fatal deaths of our road users. So this debate happens at the perfect time. But it couldn't happen at this perfect time if we don't realize that the country is under siege. Our country is under tremendous siege. We as a country spend 173 billion annually on the fatal crashes and the fatalities on our road. And this is an amount of money that could be spent worthily on very essential issues that the country needs. Education of our kids, social welfare, provision of housing, infrastructure, and the likes. So it is befitting, colleagues, to convey this message, in particular our gratitude to our partners, the Awe.org, as well as the Liquor Board, on our endeavors to ensure that we work tirelessly to turn the tide. It's not going to be an easy walk. This madness, when this was first punted, everybody said this is a crazy idea. This is sheer madness. We need this madness to begin to change the attitude. We need this madness to spike a conversation and a debate as South Africans. Join us too in the madness as we also, in the same vein as RTMC, are pursuing the reclassification of the road traffic offenses, in particular drunken driving, to Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act. These are the type of madness that we need as a country. It cannot be that we lose not less than 14,780 people annually through sheer recklessness on the road, through sheer drinking and driving, even the attitude of our drivers. If I have to share what we saw this morning as we're trying to save those who died in the 22-seater midi bus, 14 of those people, some of them who are beheaded out of this accident. Imagine if we are the next of kin of this parent who's going to be brought, the body is going to be brought back to the family without a head. The trauma that these kids are going to be living with for the rest of their lives. It is also important that our media campaign must promote a dialogue and an engagement with the most vulnerable road users to lead to a behavior change. We have to avoid a top-down approach that preach young people and do not respond to what you are dealing with. Ingrid, and I have been sharing with Martins, if you can roll this to the townships, you will have made us a bit proud. If you look at the statistics in Gauteng and KZN and Western Cape, most of the crashes that we're talking about, most of the fatalities that we're talking about arises from jaywalking, arises from drink and driving. And if we can have this, in particularly, we are 2 days before the closure of the industries. We are just 2 days before the massive headaches that we're going to be having on the country, when everybody will be having his bonus. And unfortunately, when we all have these monies in our pockets, the first priority is how much goes to liquor. And indeed, there's nothing wrong in purchasing liquor, but there's everything wrong in the drinking of the liquor if you cannot begin to control yourself and begin to measure. There is no scientific measure that says if I've taken 1 glass, I'm fine, my judgment will never be impaired. 1 glass is a glass too many to ensure that you begin to deal with the road carnages. But the good news are, we're going to be partnering with you, Ingrid. In particular in Gauteng, we're rolling out this festive season the EBET system. We know most of the people were saying it takes 6 months, it takes 3 months before the results on the blood content can be received by the prosecution or the police. Gone are those days. We'll immediately give you the outcome of the blood content of the alcohol on the spot. So it is good for those that are here. Please don't be our guest during this festive season. And we want to begin to deal with this matter because I know after we appeared on the carte blanche, everybody said we have never seen such crazy people. Keeping people 7 days behind bars. Test us this weekend. You will be having a 4-star treatment or a 5-star, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If you're fortunate, you'll begin to go to court on a Tuesday. So what a lovely relaxation. What a lovely spa that you're going to have behind the bars. So please don't test us during this festive season. If we miss you, we'll meet you during the 21st. We'll keep you the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th. So we'll begin to go and see the magistrate on the 27th. A good 7 days relaxation and thinking on the mind. So this perfect launch comes at the appropriate time. I was once told, and I don't believe because it's what I read, that curiosity kills the cat. I imagine how our law enforcement castigated this launch, that it's not going to happen on our nose. It's not going to happen during our lifetime where there's going to be people having 2 glasses and still driving. We're going to close this down. This is the inquisitiveness that we wanted to ensure that the law enforcement begins to debate this matter and talk on this matter because it's a topical subject. As I see it, and I see my colleague Wayne Minar, it will be important that I say this in his presence, that Ingrid would like to thank you, as well as the aware.org, for partnering on this worthy message to concerns of our country reaching all vulnerable users. Road fatalities are preventable, and if we work together in cooperation, we can save more lives. Let us join hands to achieve safer roads on our roads in our lifetime. As I close, some of the people were saying when we talk about the reclassification of the road offenses, they said, no, We know you come from the legal fraternity. You're making up for your colleagues to make more money for bail applications. If it be, so let it be. But we're going to arrest more people. Welcome, be our guest this festive season. Try us. We're going to deal with you decisively. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Advocate. And yes, I do remember that program. I'm glad that the time for blood tests has now also been shortened. Wayne, hoe gaan het? Is jy reg? Awe. Wayne Menard is in the building. I know that your work starts now, doesn't it? Hey? While we all take leave and want to enjoy the holidays, Wayne starts his work right now. I've been working with him for close to 18 years now, from back in the days of YFM. So thank you very much, and I want to just acknowledge his presence because I know that he's going to be a very busy man for this festive season. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, a man whose priority is ideally to realize socio-economic development for our communities through sustainable and safe trade is none other than Mr. Raymond Martin. His mandate is ideally to ensure an effective balance of trade and community safety. Let's put our hands together, because aware.org is here because of the liquor industry and the custodians of ideally engaging and trying to raise awareness about good behavior, especially when it comes to the drinking of alcohol. So let's put our hands together for the Chief Executive of the Gauteng Liquor Board, Mr. Raymond Martin.
Thank you so much, McFarlane. Good morning to our colleague CEO, Advocate Msibi, CEO of the aware.org, Mrs. Lowe, to the colleagues from RTMC, JMPD, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is indeed a privilege to be here, and I want to congratulate you, Ingrid, and the team for a stunning campaign. I must say, the amount of reaction that you got from this campaign surely meant something has to give. And I want to certainly commend you on a job well done. But I want to take this further and say, ladies and gentlemen, the issue on this dialogue should not just end on a dialogue. We should then move towards a stage where we start taking action on the kind of things that we speak about and agree upon at most of these campaigns and launches.
All right.